it was completely redeemed by its ending, which was just chef's kiss. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Emma here, and today I'm coming at you with a much requested video. So over on my Instagram, I asked you guys what videos you'd like to see me do more of, and so many of you asked for book related videos. Obviously, I studied English at the University of Cambridge, so everyone thinks I have a stack of really good book recommendations in my head. No pressure. I must admit, I'm not the most well-read person out there. There are definitely people that have read far more books than I have and have far more interesting things to say than I do. That said, I probably have read more books than the average person because of my degree. But I would like to preface this video by saying, like, I haven't read absolutely everything that is out there. This is just what I've picked based on recommendations I've been given, what's in the charts, and sort of reviews I've read, things I've heard in the media. So I've picked these books up, and this is kind of half a review, half a haul, because I said on my Instagram that I'd bought a lot of books recently and didn't think I'd be buying any more because I need to get through my pile of unread books. And I still asked you guys if you'd be interested in me doing a haul of all the books that I'd bought before I'd started my YouTube up. But that does mean that I have read some of them already, so it's not a haul, and that I've never, you know, picked them up. I have read half, I think, of the books in this pile that I'm going to go through. So it will be half review, half haul. And I'll tell you what I think about the ones I have read without giving too much away. I don't want to spoil any plots and things like that, so it's not a complete review where there are going to be spoilers. Or if there are, I'll try and let you know before I say them. But I don't plan on spoiling any of them for any of you. With that said, let's get started. So the first book that I ordered is The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So the reason I actually read this book is because somebody at work set up a book club and they sent across 5 different titles and blurbs, and we all voted on which one we'd like to read first, and I picked this one. And unfortunately, I actually wasn't able to attend the first book club meeting because I was on annual leave and forgot about it. But I did really enjoy this book. In the US, it's actually called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I suppose all will be revealed if you choose to read it. But I will read the blurb for any of you interested. It's kind of like a murder mystery type book with a twist. So it says, at a party thrown by her parents, Evelyn Hardcastle will be killed again. She's been murdered hundreds of times, and each day Aidan Bishop is too late to save her. The only way to break this cycle is to identify Evelyn's killer, but every time the day begins again, Aidan wakes in the body of a different guest, and someone is desperate to stop him ever escaping Blackheath. I must tell you, I really did enjoy this. It is the Costa Book Awards winner of 2018, so not all of these are super, you know, new and out there. They have been out for a while, some of them, but this one is relatively modern, 2018, and it was just brilliant. It was like Cluedo in a book, and I love like crime dramas, like fictions and crime related mystery novels. I like trying to work out who the killer is, trying to pick up pieces of evidence. I like anything like that, so this was really interesting to me anyway. But with that cool, like, I don't know, is it like sci-fi fantasy twist? Like, I don't know what you call it, where the detective, Aidan Bishop, keeps waking up in different bodies of guests at the party to gather different bits of information. Is just such a cool and exciting twist, and I would definitely recommend this to anybody. I think anybody can enjoy this book. And there are twists and turns at every corner. There are forums on Reddit where people discuss chapters each week. So I definitely found that really interesting as I went, like, checking the Reddit forums to see what everybody else was hypothesizing, and everyone was trying to work it out together. Obviously, they're a bit dated now because they were when the forums were about when the book first came out, so don't, like, go and read ahead and spoil it for yourself, because I accidentally spoiled it for myself, and I was really gutted that I'd ruined the ending, especially because it wasn't something I'd ever have expected. So, yeah, but definitely recommend this to anybody interested in crime, murder, mystery type Cluedo-y fun things. So next up is The Midnight Library, and this was advertised everywhere when it came out. Everybody was talking about it. It was in every front window of every bookstore ever, But I waited until the soft cover paperback came out rather than the hardcover, because I'd already bought too many books at the time and couldn't justify buying another one. And I actually prefer a paperback to a hardcover. I just find it easier on my wrists. I do like to crack my spines. I know people hate that, but I like a well-loved, well-read book, and that shows that. Sorry for any of you that don't like to crack your spines. But I'll read the blurb of this one as well. So it says, Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then, at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to a library. There she is given the chance to undo her regrets and try out each of the other lives she might have lived, which raises the ultimate question, with infinite choices, what is the best way to live? And I read this blurb and I thought, this sounds so exciting. I've heard of all the hype, like this must be brilliant, and the concept is great. I do agree, the concept is fantastic, the blurb really sells it, but I just wasn't overly keen on the style of writing, or there was just something that bothered me about it. I'm not sure what, because I really did like the concept. I was slightly put off by the fact that there were two metaphors running through this book throughout. Like there is like a strong, I think, if I remember correctly, like physics, astrophysics type metaphor running through, obviously about the universe and multiple universes and multiple choices at lives, but there was also like a weird nature tree metaphor running throughout as well, and I kind of wish he'd just picked one rather than running with both, because I remember the first bit of feedback I had when I was at Cambridge on one of my essays was that I was mixing up too many metaphors when I was writing essays, and just pick one. Don't confuse your metaphors, it's confusing for your audience. So I think that was kind of in the back of my mind, like, why did you have two metaphors? Why didn't you just stick with one? But that said, the concept is brilliant, and Dolly Parton said it is a charming book. So yeah, I still think it's worth the read for the concept, even if you can't get along with the writing. Like, it's written really simply and colloquially, which is nice. It's easy to pick up, easy for anyone to access. There was just something with the tone that I wasn't 100% there with. So the next book that I got was The Four Winds. I just love this cover. How pretty is this? They say don't judge a book by its cover, but oh, this is so pretty and nice to touch. And when I read the blurb of this, I was expecting something that sort of harked back to John Steinbeck. I love John Steinbeck. As you know, my favourite book is East of Eden, and a lot of you will be familiar with Of Mice and Men from maybe studying at school. So that's the sort of vibe and time period that this book is set in, like Dust Bowl America. And I thought, yes, that is exactly what I love reading. That is my type of era. I just find the history of this time really interesting. So I was super excited to get reading this book. I'll read the blurb to you. Oh, there's like a grease stain on it. I hate that. I like looking after my books. Anyway, so I'll read the blurb to you now. It says, ooh, this is where I don't like hardcovers, because these papery leaves, what do you call these? Paper sleeves. These paper sleeves fall off. Anyway, she will discover the best of herself in the worst of times. Texas, 1934. Elsa Martinelli has finally found the life she'd yearned for. A family, a home, and a farm on the Great Plains. But when drought threatens all that she and her community hold dear, Elsa's world is shattered to the winds. One of the darkest periods of the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl era, has arrived with a vengeance. Farmers are fighting to keep their land and their livelihoods as the crops are failing, the water is drying up, and dust threatens to bury them all. Fearful of the future, when Elsa wakes to find her husband has fled, she is forced to make the most agonizing decision of her life. Fight for the land she loves, or take her beloved children, Loreda and Aunt, west to California in search of a better life. From the overriding love of a mother for her child, the value of female friendship, and the ability to love again, against all odds, Elsa's incredible journey is a story of courage and sacrifice and what we do for the ones we love. Now, I did really love this book. I found it difficult at times and quite repetitive and drawn out. That was the only sort of downside of it. I loved the characters, I loved the time it was set, the plot, and yeah, I did get on with the way of the writing style in this one, if I remember correctly. But there was just something about it that was a little bit repetitive. Obviously, the idea that they're just living in a dusty town that's suffering from drought, and I felt like a lot of the book was spent with the main character weighing up whether she should leave or not, and it took a really long time for her to make that decision, and then I felt like it sort of rushed towards the end. And I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you know, when you get that sense that you're like, oh, I'm a bit tired, when is something new going to happen? That said, I still really, really loved it. I think yeah, I think I'd give this like 4 stars if I was going to rate it, because I do like that sort of time period. But yeah, I'd still definitely recommend it for any of you interested in this sort of era, or not. Like, if you're just looking to try something new, then this might be a good place to start. So next on my list is Hamlet. Everyone will have seen this if you've been walking down the high street past Waterstones or Blackwell's or W.H. Smith, wherever you're walking. This was always in the front window. It is Waterstones Book of the Year 2020, and I've got this lovely edition, this Waterstones edition with the lovely red and gold cover, which I think is just beautiful. And obviously I studied English at Cambridge, as I keep saying, and we did a whole module on Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. I can't get enough of the guy. I know a lot of you will probably hate him because you were forced to study him at school, and you probably didn't understand the English because it was written during the Renaissance, and he writes in that really funny, flowery way. But this kind of picks up from Shakespeare's personal life. I'm not actually sure to what extent any of it's true, or obviously it's based on a true story, I imagine, but I don't know about the details, probably not so much. But anything Shakespeare related, I was desperate to get my hands on. It's about his children, his family, their upbringing, their struggles, and obviously the inspiration for the famous play Hamlet. And I think it was just a beautiful story. Again, I think I was trying to sort of rush through this one because I was really excited to get through my new books, and maybe that's the reason why I struggled with it and it took me quite a while to get through it. It's not that it wasn't gripping, I actually found it very interesting, but I sort of felt a bit fatigued by it in the end and was ready to move on. Maybe that's a me problem and not the problem with the book. But it was just a lovely, sweet story. Sad, obviously, but brilliant. So I'll read you the blurb. It says, "On a summer's day in 1596, a young girl in Stratford-upon-Avon takes to her bed with a fever. Her twin brother Hamlet searches everywhere for help. Why is nobody at home? Their mother Agnes is over a mile away in the garden where she grows medicinal herbs. Their father is working in London. Neither parent knows that one of the children will not survive the week. Hamlet is a novel inspired by the son of a famous playwright. It is a story of the bond between twins and of a marriage pushed to the brink by grief. It is also the story of a kestrel and its mistress, a flea that boards a ship in Alexandria, and a glovemaker's son who flouts convention in pursuit of the woman he loves. Above all, it is the tender reimagining of a boy whose life has been all but forgotten, but whose name was given to one of the most celebrated plays ever written." God, I'm getting choked up reading it because, yeah, it's an emotional book and I did really enjoy it, and I loved the different snippets of places that the book visited. It was really lovely to read about. The bit about the flea and the glove maker, that's all really interesting as well. The backstory of how Shakespeare met his wife is really cool, and it just really builds a picture of all of these people as characters, obviously not as real people. We don't know what they were really like, but the character profiles in this are just so sweet and lovely, and every character I feel has such a good amount of depth, and you can really empathise with the characters. I think even though I did get fatigued by this, it was completely redeemed by its ending, which was just chef's kiss. There was one sentence at the end of the book that I thought was a really nice critical commentary on the play Hamlet from like a literature, essay, Cambridge, analytical perspective. I thought it was beautiful and a really lovely theory dressed up in prose, which I might read that to you now, so spoiler alert. Let's see if I can find the line. So spoiler alert, this is the sentence that I just think made the whole book for me. So it says, "Hamlet, here on this stage, is two people. The young man alive and the father dead. He is both alive and dead. Her husband has brought him back to life in the only way he can. As the ghost talks, she sees that her husband, in writing this, in taking the role of the ghost, has changed places with his son. He has taken his son's death and made it his own. He has put himself in death's clutches, resurrecting the boy in his place." Whew! Chills! Like, that, for me, just made the whole book. For any of you returning from the spoiler, you know, we're done. You can skip past that bit now. You're safe. No more spoilers. But yes, that was just a beautiful moment for me, and I really loved that. So next on the list is the book I'm reading at the moment. This is The Year of the Witching. I haven't got that far into it at the minute, but I am quite excited about it. I do like a gothic-y, witchy sort of moody book. I feel like that is not a very good description of this. I haven't got that far into it, but that's the sort of vibe I like from a book. A bit supernatural, without being horror or scary. So this is, because I'm not that far into it, I'll read you the blurb rather than trying to talk about what I think it's about, because I've only read a couple of chapters. But it says, born on the fringes of Bethel, Emmanuel does her best to obey the church and follow holy protocol. For it was in Bethel that the first prophet pursued and killed 4 powerful witches and so cleansed the land. Then a chance encounter lures her into the dark wood that surrounds Bethel. It is a forbidden place haunted by the spirits of the witches who bestow an extraordinary gift on Emmanuel, the diary of her dead mother. Fascinated by and fearful of the secrets the diary reveals, Emmanuel begins to understand why her mother once consorted with witches. Sorry, I had to go answer the door. I'll finish reading the blurb. And as the truth about the prophets and their history is revealed, so Emmanuel understands what must be done. Whew. For the real threat to Bethel is its own darkness. Bethel must change, and that change will begin with her. Sorry if I pronounced anything wrong there as well, but that is that. I'll not say any more on it, I'll let you be the judge of it. Next up is The Vanishing Half, which has been a much talked about book leading up to its release. I actually applied for jobs in publishing over summer before I started the job I'm in now, and I wrote about this when I was applying for the job, which I didn't get. Didn't even hear back from. But anyway, I didn't want to go into publishing anyway, so that's fine, I've changed my mind. But I'm definitely making a big push to read more diverse authors, diverse topics. Obviously at Cambridge there was a big issue of canonical texts being compulsory, and they are often written by old dusty white men. Sorry, Shakespeare. So I think it is really important that we don't just stick to texts in the canon, and definitely hear voices from different writers of all kinds of backgrounds. And I was really excited to get a hold of this because it has been much talked about and much anticipated, as I've said. So I'll read you the blurb of this one. Also, I noticed that Hamlet is about twins, and this is also about twins, and I'm a twin. So maybe I'm just being drawn to books about twins lately. I think I have another one on my shelf about twins as well. Maybe not. But I distinctly remember reading another blurb about twins. Gosh, maybe this is all a weird trick of the universe. Anyway, twins, inseparable as children, ultimately choose to live in 2 very different worlds, one black and one white. I don't know how you pronounce the surname. Vignes? I think the Vignes Cinders. The Vignes sisters will always be identical, but after growing up together in a small southern black community and running away at age 16, it's not just the shape of their daily lives that is different as adults, it's everything, including their racial identities. Many years later, one sister lives with her black daughter in the same southern town she once tried to escape. Across the country, the other secretly passes for white, and her white husband knows nothing of her past. Still, although separated by so many miles and just as many lies, the fates of the twins remain intertwined. What will happen when their own daughter's storylines intersect? Weaving together multiple strands and generations from the Deep South to California, from the 1950s to the 1990s, The Vanishing Half is at once a riveting emotional family story and a brilliant exploration of race, gender and identity, and the lasting influence of the past as it shapes a person's desires and expectations. I'm really excited about this. For my degree, like in my exam essays that I submitted, my last bit of research, I was super into identity, race, gender, exile, refugees, traveling, all of that sort of stuff. So I really like to read a book that explores identity and how different parts of people's identities intersect in their own eyes and in the eyes of the society around them. So I really can't wait to start this. I was going to say let me know what you think if you read it in the comments below, but I also don't want spoilers, so no spoilers in the comments below, but tell me if you've read this and you found it interesting. And my final book that I got in my latest shopping spree is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I actually feel like I've read these books back to front, but basically this is her first book, I think, and everyone loves this. I had a couple of people at university recommend this to me. I think Astrid might have read this as well. I know there was definitely a girl in the year below that loved this book, I think. Was it this, The Night Circus? I think it was. Anyway, I read The Starless Sea first, which I'll probably talk about in another haul video because I'm just hauling everything that I bought before I started YouTube. But I read The Starless Sea, which is actually her second book, and I remember when I got to the tail, the woman was like, oh, have you read her first book? And I was like, first book? No. So after I read The Starless Sea and loved it, I decided to go away and buy this one, which I'm really excited to get into. And it's kind of like a weird dimensions of this book, however it's printed. The font's really big and it feels a bit like short and stumpy, but I don't know, I like books with big font. I don't want to be squinting my eyes. Anyway, cover aside, I'll read to you what it is about, if I can find the blurb. Oh yeah, the blurb is on the back. I thought it was quotations. It says, "The circus arrives without warning. It is simply there, when yesterday it was not. Against the grey sky the towering tents are striped black and white. A sign hanging upon iron gates reads, 'Opens at nightfall, closes at dawn.' As dusk shifts to twilight, tiny lights begin to flicker all over the tents, as though the whole circus is covered in fireflies. When the tents are aglow, sparkling against the night sky, a sign lights up. I am not going to pronounce this right because it's French. Le Cirque de Rêve? Who knows, I'm not good at French. The Circus of Dreams. The gates shudder and unlock. Seemingly by their own volition, they swing outward, inviting the crowd inside. Now the circus is open. Now you may enter." So that is all it says on the blurb, but I am very excited about this. I hope you've enjoyed this half book haul, half review. If you'd like more videos like this, please let me know in the comments below. I'm a bit insecure about doing like book reviews and book videos because obviously I studied English, so I feel like you guys are hoping I'm some sort of authority on it, but I'm really not, and I've always known that I'm not super well read, and deciding to study English at uni was like quite a last minute decision, and I'm not from a family that have been to university before. I'm not from a household that had bookshelves upon bookshelves of books in the house. My mum just read to me as a child and things, so I know a lot of people have been raised with more literature than I have and know a lot more about books than I do. But if you found this interesting, please let me know and leave me a reassuring comment down below, and I'll keep making videos like this. But for now, thanks guys, bye!